So let's get started with the activities. Looking at last week and this week, Mr. Ambrose Omodian invested is the CEO or Chief Research Officer, Invested Consulting Limited. He joins us live here in the studio. Thank you for joining us. Yes, I know you've been quite away for some time now. You were supposed to be here last week on the other show, but you were not here. But now you're here now. Let's look at last week. The analysis of some other experts in the market has been that yes, because the market is in an anticipatory form for the third quarter earnings, so you see a lot of bearish sentiment in the market and investors trying to take position in few equities. So what's your position on this?
Yeah, actually I would say that the market is doing what it's expected to do at this point. Remember at the beginning of this month I said on this platform that we expect a mixed market, that the month of June is very dicey because we have seen April up, May was up. That this month I expect correction, I expect pullback, and also at the end of the day, because of the earnings we're expecting for Q2 or half year by July, towards the end of the month, we might see the positioning ahead of that numbers we're expecting. But what we saw last week, for me, I'm not surprised. Yes, also, if you look at the volume traded, it was also a lower volume compared to the previous week. But when you see the life of MTN and Airtel declining in a week, expected to get like 2.68 that we saw. For me, I'm not surprised. Also, the only thing that people should consider is that as far as there was increase in rates, as we speak now, the minimum lending rate in the banking sector is around minimum in everything. The lending rate there is about 27 point something now, which actually show that something is going to happen in that industry. But as we speak now, because market is pulling back, the banking stock suffered losses last week, and also all those big tech companies suffered losses. That pulled back the market to this level. Well, at this level now, yesterday I was chatting a lot of all the indices and also the companies in the banking sector. I saw many others have also formed a double or triple bottom to expect that today we might see that the bargain hunters might start to say this pullback for straight 4 days as a result of high cap stock losing and some blue chips company dropping. It's an opportunity for them to position for those companies that are into trade paying dividend component, that at the end of the day, if they position early now, also another choice that they can do is that at this point you might not jump fully. For example, I want to buy 1 million of Zenith Bank. I not buy it once because since it still is forming, it's still pulling back. You buy in stages to see where, because if it turns back today, you want to buy at a higher price. But now we have seen at this point almost within what we call a double point or a double bottom or a triple bottom. It's a sign that okay, it might likely slow down there before it bounce back. But the price we are seeing in GTB, Zenith Bank, Access Bank, and UBA, this level was not there last year. But I think that at this point now is an opportunity for me for them to buy, especially those are going to pay into dividend. That means they have something that will support their price at the end of the day. For me, what we saw in the market like is expected, and I say we should not panic. But as far also there was adjustment in what interest rate, there was portfolio reshuffling, and at the same time we saw that prices of crude oil also pull back last week, touching as low as 14. But this morning, someone doing at 112. That means it's further declining. This also what to check. But the good thing for Nigeria is that as far oil price is above $100. We don't need to complain by oil revenue because we are still getting it, or less of production, which I believe that we should work on our production down here so that we can take advantage of the high oil price also to impact our economy going into the future.
Just before we get into looking at some of the top 5 gainers for the week, let's talk about, you mentioned the fact that most banks have reflected the new rate in their operations, as high as 27%. I mean, that of course is not supposed to have immediate impact on the bottom line of the bank. So I'm wondering, how would that inform the decision of an investor going forward to start taking position in the banking stocks?
If you look at Nigeria history, the banking sector is the most consistent dividend.
Because why I ask questions is that every investor,
I want to ask
just in addition to the question, because every investor is looking at, okay, where I can put my money in the medium term or the short term, and so I can take out
the medium term. A short term can be 1 day, 1 week. Yes. Medium term can be 1 week, 6 months. Or long term can be 1 year and above. Right. Then if you are thinking of where to be in the short to medium term, the banking sector is still attractive. Why I say so? One, yes, this is a sector that are pull back in terms of price.
Right.
Also, we are seeing factors that are going to impact on their earnings. As we just said, we are not expecting the hike in May to affect their half-year position. because most of their clients or their customers will kind of renegotiating with the new rate. That means from Q3, which is we're entering now, but we'll be like we'll start seeing impact on that, because I said earlier that if you look at the minimum lending rate now in the bank sector has gone back to almost 27.4. It is that it's a high one. That means it's going to impact on what? On their net worth, on their net interest income, which is good for the banking sector. And also because they are sector that pay consistent in terms of trade dividend, the price pulling back is an attraction for those, even the PFAs that are looking for, yes, the banks are correcting, market is correcting, but it's because they are looking the way of the fixed income, because we see that there's a kind of a big more deep in terms of money that going to fixed income market. But I'll tell you that there are some stocks in the market, settle in the market, that will still give you more than what we are seeing as inflation. Inflation has at last week hit about 17.71. Then they also the company that are giving you even dividend yield is around 14%. Then capital appreciation should be expecting to get, as market to date, market is still giving out about 21% return, which is above inflation. But people are still moving away because of the risk level in the market now. But those that understand the market, that all know how to take calculated risk, you know the kind of sector they should be and the kind of company. As I said, despite the market is pulling out, we expect to be seeing some spikes here and there in some few stocks. And that is why, as a trader or investor, you have to know how to use your technical analysis to know exactly when a spike will come. That's why I said when I charted all the indices and also saw I did about 12 for the banking sector, I saw about 5 of them trying to form a resistance at the good price. That means these are things you'll be doing as a trader to see where you can jump in gradually. Like I said, take position stage by stage. So at the end of the day, when the market rebound, you're going to make more. All those are also investing for long term or medium term. If you're entering for trade dividend, you can actually extend your state toward the end of the year. You take the trade dividend and also take the full year. And that note, also you're going to get kind of a dividend yield that's above what a fixed income will give you. As we speak now, no matter how juice or how attractive the treasury bill return for it is below 7%.
Let's dwell on the banking stocks a bit. I'm just wondering, yes, there was a pullback last week, but banks like stocks like UBA, Sterling Bank, ETI, top, the chart over the week. So one wonder what was the factors that drove that performance for some of these banks, or are they part of the ones you talked about earlier, for the fact that you've charted for some of the banks listed, but 5 of them are forming resistance? So are we likely to see resistance?
Are forming resistance at a stronger support level.
So does it include UBA, Sterling Bank, ETI?
ETI, UBA, Zenith Bank, Access that broke down, what we call an uptrend, like coming down. We're still to see asset to form a strong base. But for Zenith Bank, ETI, GTB, I'm seeing a strong support level now. Looking at the chart, on a daily time frame. Then if you look at other time frame, you can see that most of them are still trying to resist decline on a bigger time frame, 1 month or a week time frame. For me, investors should not panic. And I said it earlier that this sector is where the companies or banks there are more consistent in dividend. Also, they do trade dividend. The only few stocks I've joined in trade dividend club, like Presco and Waku joined last year. But those are consistent as stock like Total, Zenith Bank, UBA, GTB, Access Bank, Stanbic IBTC, we know them, Nigeria Brewery, Nestle, we know them. But for those that join you the life of Presco and Waku, we might say, okay, let's see, watch and see. But others that they are consistent, we know the period the result will hit the market. For me, this is time for a design investor. You don't wait to see the result. It's time now that they are pulled back, most of the banks are pulled back, you start buying into them so that when the result comes and the result is also good and they come with this reward of interest dividend, they're likely to go up. That's why, as an investor, you don't wait to see the number before you jump in. You are seeing the price coming down, trying to form a strong support level. You start keying into this position.
Let's look at the top 5 gainers for last week, and maybe we can begin to see the trend that they are likely to take this week. For instance, Lane Africa, you have Suno Assurance, Triple G also is also part of the top 5 gainers, and you have Ella Lakes PLC, you have Living Trust Mortgage Bank, the top gainers for the week, and top 10 gainers. But these are the top 5 gainers that we have. But so for these stocks, so what are the trends that you think they may want to pull this week, given their performance last week? Same trend or on the flip side?
Actually, looking at the top 10, as we just said, I'll tell you they are penny stock and look after that dominated the top 10 gainers for last week. The only stock there I see that, yes, will sustain that tempo is the Lane Africa. Lane Africa, I've said earlier, that has March as year end. We have seen their unaudited account for year ended March 31st, 2022. Then expecting their full year result to come with another reward, and also first quarter is around the corner. We expect that the result will push the price, and also if dividend come along with the result, that will also push. But for others, it does market sentiment that is pushing their price. That means they will sustain it this week, depending on the market direction. But for Latin Africa, I think that trend should be sustained to around the 2 naira 80 kobo or even 3 naira before, especially if the reward from the company also beat market expectation, it's likely to go up for others. But if you look at the others, that these are penny stock insurance company, that I believe that let's give them time. Well, I know that most of them are coming up gradually, but let's see where the insurance companies will head from now. But for those in that top gainers, it's all market sentiment and the market forces. Let's just wait and see what the market will do.
Okay, let's wait to see what the trend that they might likely to put this week. Okay, let's look at the top 5 decliners. You have livestock feeds. International Breweries is there, Curtis PLC, Mayor is also the Cornwall is also part of it as well. But let's start from the bottom up. For Cornwall, what do you suppose was responsible for this negative trend in that stock last week, losing about 3 naira 20 kobo at the end of the day?
Don't forget that last 2 weeks, Cornwall was marked down for a dividend that he declared. It rebounded the same week, but profit taking pushed the stock down. For me, Cornwall is just market also sentiment of profit taking. But what I say so is that if a stock was marked down, after marked down, it rebounded, coming down again is just profit taking activities. And also don't forget that it's a kind of a positive fundamental news for the oil sector and oil related business, whether locally or internationally. I believe that we expect to see an improved numbers from those companies in that sector, especially as the price of all the lubricants these companies are into are up. It's going to find a way of supporting their bottom line because they push their cost to the consumer. We can't say because there's a kind of increase in oil that we are using to service your car. You now say, let me dump my car, I won't service my car. You need to service your car. Either there's increase, you have to pay. That means they can still make money because you can't say, because there's increase in oil, let me start using the roadside oil. No, this way the lubricant aspect of their business will also support them because they push their cost to the consumers.
So what do you have to say about the Mayor PLC and Curtis? Curtis for Mayor PLC lost about 31 kobo, and of course you have the Curtis PLC losing about 29 kobo at the end of the week as well. Give us your take on that.
Yeah, Mayor I think is one of the oil paint company, but I'll tell you, Mayor movement even from as low as 80 kobo to 3 naira for me was just sentiment driven. It was not supported by a strong number. And also now that the market is on this direction and people are taking profit, I expect also to come down the way it went up, so that at the end of the day to find its level until you start seeing genuine number coming from them that will support the price. That will now, for investors, will now have an idea of what to. Also the shareholding structure of that company also have part of it, because only 2 major stockbroking firms has the major stake in that company. And if they are not selling, or they are the one releasing small volume to prove the price, if they are not buying and they are not selling, no activities. As to speak now, as market is is coming down, correcting, let's see how far you go before. For me, I will not advise any investor to look the way of that stock for now. Let's see it find to support level where it become attractive. Also seeing a number coming from the company again to support whether there's kind of possibility that the price will go up, feeding on the earnings that we're expecting. Is
it the same for livestock feeds and international breweries?
For livestock feeds, for me, the stock is just sentiment moving. Why I say so? Because it was delayed upon. I thought 168 come down to 140, 138 and go back. And people have made money on this short term since they released their first quarter. I was also too attractive. We are seeing a movement upon that. If Q2 come and change the direction by posting a positive number, you might see reversal. But why I say that now, you can see that the world is always crying for what? For food insecurity.
Right.
This is a sector that livestock feeds into a sector that they need the feed to be. Yes, I know it's a smaller kind of player in that industry. We'll have bigger names that are playing that feed marks, but I believe the company should not sit down. They should see also what they can do to make sure that they support their price, their performance, that the price will feed on anywhere. Like anytime, any day, price will feed on earnings. If your earnings are not good, I'll tell you market will treat you that way. But if your earnings is giving a sign that at the end of the day there will be positive, improved dividend payout that will support the price also, then better can look the whole of it.
Let's talk about the general outlook of the market for the week. What's your outlook for the week, and what are likely to change? What are the things that will happen in the market this week?
Yeah, actually, for me, technically there's no signal. Only just about 5 stocks I saw signal that to buy, but those signals are not too strong. That's why in my team, I said we should just suspend buying position now. But I would say between now and end of the week, let's expect a mixed market, but let investor trade with caution to see until you confirm a strong support level and also a potential reversal signal before you can jump into it. But you can't catch a falling knife. Since the market is pulling back, I would advise that play with caution. Then if you want to take position, take stage by stage. Don't jump into position you are taking with all the capital you have at once. You can buy it, but I believe that there are some sectors that has potential to also.
So which are these sectors?
I said earlier the banking sector.
The banking sector.
We saw the life of MTN suffering hard hit. That's why the people that sector remains a sector to look at. Industrial sector is a sector to look at. Agricultural sector remains a sector to look at.
The consumer goods was perhaps the most traded sector last week.
Yeah, you can see. But I believe that the petroleum sector also, which is the oil and gas, is also a sector to watch, because as far oil price remain above $400, those guys will smile. I can see it also reflecting in the earnings of the stock like Eternal Oil. You can see it in the earnings of Steplat. If by end of June, by July, you start seeing this number, that will also give direction where the market will be going. Actually, what is happening globally, because we are seeing that the fear of central bank around the globe increasing hiking rate will also lead towards possibility of a recession. And because when there's a recession, there will be low demand for oil. Because when there's a recession, there will be low demand for everything available. That's why you see oil price not moving the way, after touching a high of 126.8, it has pulled back to around 112 as we speak at this hour now. Tells that also there is that fear that if peradventure we go into recession globally, the demand for oil will naturally come down.
I think we should leave it there. Thank you so much, Ambrose Omodion, Chief Research Officer, Investor Consultant Limited. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.